Now there's the Isle of Roux, where no one can tell us what to do.
Hello, welcome to the Isle of Roux. We're so happy you made the journey. This is our 80th time we've gotten together on the island.
It's because we must be really old by now.
We just vampires. Just keep going.
Yeah.
On days like this, when the land
I wasn't on screen before, and so I thought I'd just use my different camera for until we got started.
Yeah.
And then you suggested that I do it differently, so now I'm on twice.
You're beautiful.
Kelly's here.
I'll just start with the land acknowledgement, and then I'll get everybody in here. So we I don't know. I love seeing how the land changes, and the land and the river was a really important thing this week. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But the Creator gifted us with this land that we are blessed to share and care for together. We acknowledge that the land we gather on Mokinstis is the ancestral territory of the Siksika, Sidipi, the Siksika, the Gaina, the Pigani, and the Amska Pipikana. We acknowledge all First Nations and Métis of Treaty 7 lands, the Sutena, the Atkabi, which includes Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Goodstoney. We commit to advancing reconciliation guided by truth, respecting treaty laws, and humbly walking alongside First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. We recognize all who live, work, play, and make art on these lands, and who now call this place home. I was saying
I'm a little worried about your volume.
I was saying the land. Oh, our mic is very good mic. Our mic is
Last week he was a bit quiet.
Mic.
I'm loud and obnoxious, so I'm not worried about me.
Should I add Kelly or wait till she gets her camera going?
I don't know. You can add Kelly. Howdy how.
Hi Kelly. You just do you. Do your thing. I was saying thinking about the land and the rivers this week. We got to take part in a really beautiful.
I did invite Kathleen. She might be
celebration.
joining us.
Oh, that's so nice. That is wonderful. That was a really special celebration to take part in, so we can talk more about that. Especially if she comes on, then we can wait till she is coming on. So this has been a really full week, hey?
You could talk about your experience with the river. And then
Sure.
If she comes on, then we can join to it. Can you start by telling me what I'm supposed to draw for Lori?
I'll get the list.
Thanks. Did that sound sarcastic? I didn't mean it to sound sarcastic.
No, it didn't.
Tools. Camera.
Would you like me to write them on a sheet? Like
no.
Here?
I like my
tell you
brain
one at a
is
time.
kind of tapped, and I just want you to tell me.
Mirror.
Did you read the passage?
No, she literally gave me a list of 12
Well, what
things
kind
to
of
draw.
mirror? Like mirror on a wall? Mirror. Are you texting Lori right now to ask what kind of mirror? And who's looking in the mirror? Am I allowed to read the passage online? Are you texting any of the questions I'm asking? I don't think you are.
I was asking about what kind of mirror, handheld mirror, question mark, and then.
Oh, you know what it is I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
And then I'll think of no, that's not ideal. And I'll move on to a different question.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm on the different question.
Then I catch up and I ask the question.
No, you get mad at me because you haven't done the first question. And it's like, it's not registering that I've changed the first
and then you
question.
Say, I've moved on. And then I go, no, don't move on. I'm still here.
Well, no, I don't ever say I've moved on until I'm done. If I'm done the project when you're starting to help, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
Oh, man. It's hard.
Okay, read me the passage with the mirror. Do you have that?
I don't have the passages.
Oh.
She just gave me the list.
Okay.
She just said in pen and ink.
It's okay. I'll start. Am I drawing online?
Yeah.
I just wonder how close I can zoom that in without it being like right at my nose. Is that on camera?
Yes, it's perfect.
I don't want it on camera.
Oh, it's not perfect.
Where is it on camera?
It's right to the left side. So many things happened this week. Okay, so first, I was talking to Rich about my process and how sometimes I still get scared, like when not scared, but like it's still exhilarating to show the kids things, like draw in front of them, whether it's like blind contour or like I guess showing the proportions of the face isn't that exhilarating anymore. I know where stuff goes.
Can I just suggest you finish one of your sentences?
Any
sentence will do.
But it was really cool because Rich just did one eye, a boob, 1 foot, and then some tips of fingers, and then he handed me the paper. And
I think you'd been saying that you sometimes get overwhelmed not knowing where to start.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just giving you like a random, here, start with this.
And so then I turned it into this, and then I was thinking of adding some watercolor this evening.
Oh, you know what's fantastic?
What?
There's a fruit fly. I love fruit flies.
Also, it's just little emblems between chapters too, so it's good that you do it like that's beautiful. Like it doesn't have to be huge.
Does she continue with Facebook or either, right?
YouTube, yeah.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Did you put it on Facebook?
No.
Are you?
I will right now, yeah.
YouTube. But does the answer also go like either works fine?
Not really.
Okay.
I don't know anymore.
It's funny how you and I have like different like halves of solutions, like in the dark room.
Yeah, together we are one person.
Yeah, and I was explaining to Ray that you and I share the darkroom experience, and she kind of misunderstood and thought I was saying that like neither of us know how to do it, but I meant like not. It was like a huge misunderstanding. I just wasn't explaining myself well. It sounded like I was saying neither you or I know how to develop in the darkroom.
Yeah.
Because then she gave me like a really exhaustive list on places where we could go to learn more about the darkroom.
Oh.
But I was like, oh no, I'm sorry. I meant to say like we both know half. We both.
Yeah.
We both know half what to do.
Yeah. That makes sense. We both know half. And same with.
I was thinking about that the other day about how like you and I used to load the tanks together.
Yeah.
Spool the exposed film onto the reels, get developed into negatives.
Yeah.
And I remember like your voice kind of sank a little bit the first time I decided I want to do that by myself. But then I was like, oh, well, we could both do this. I should just let you try it next week. And then I realized like you have like no experience doing
the other part
film on this, and it's when you start, it's like it's so easy to put the film on the spools, but when you start in the dark, it just seems impossible. Like how can anybody, like you wonder what people making a living developing film would have been like in the olden days.
Yeah,
I think Kathleen's coming through right now.
Oh, nice.
There's Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Are you changing your last name?
Things in front of me. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us okay? Can you hear?
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
It's iffy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, yeah.
Oh, good. I won't get yelling at you then.
If you'd like, some people have had good experiences plugging headphones in. as long as the headphone has a mic. Do you have some headphones with a mic?
My headphones are at the studio.
We were talking about. I started the broadcast. We were doing the land acknowledgement, and I was thinking about the land and
And the river.
and the river this week. Our experience with you and the river, and yeah. Did you want to talk about about your inspiration, or did you want to? What would you like? Would you like to share anything about how you came to that?
We'll do the best.
Ooh, it cut out a little.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be
I
wonderful.
think this is it's an amazing opportunity. And just let me know if I cut out. So there's a huge global movement, rights of nature movement that's happening worldwide. I first heard about it when I heard of this lovely lady named Meg Avon, who married the Avon River. And she started connecting with me. And this group of resistance people that I joined 2 years ago, Slope Studio Creative Resistance, we started talking about the fact that July 11th coming was International Water Day. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we had weddings the whole length of rivers, like brides all along the river? And it was a huge vision that we had for July 11th. And then it turned out somebody had some benign reason why July 11th wasn't going to work. So it ended up, I just followed through and started planning my own wedding. Now I've been married twice to men, and it didn't work out so well. I've had an annulment of one of those marriages, but not the other. I'm getting really personal.
That's
But
okay.
for me, it was like a real exploration in my head about what was motivating me and what did I want in my life. And I wanted love, and I wanted nature, and it's always played, or they have always played a part in my life. If I've ever had a problem, I sorted it out by taking a walk or connecting with the sky, the land. And surprisingly, art was conduit for that relationship. Like art, I guess I was pegged as a commercial landscape artist. I did very well for about 10 years in the commercial world, but it wasn't feeding my soul. I couldn't persist in doing that. I wanted to explore my art in a different way. And so nature, art, and union and support was really important to me. We're in a real mess in terms of what's happening in Thunder Bay and the communities in Northern Ontario just the last 2 days. I'm driving the Trans-Canada Highway this summer, and I'm staying in Kenora. I'm staying in Thunder Bay. Who had to actually escape last night in boats.
Where was this? Sorry, it's cutting out a little
Totally.
bit.
I just maybe should slow down.
No, it's okay. It sounds good now.
I was talking about Collins Lake and how the people of that village had to abandon the town by water last night.
Oh my God.
Instead of thinking about all of the devastation like I usually do and going out and protesting things, I wanted to participate in a mutual act of love between the water and myself. And I wanted it to be fun and positive, and there was good food, and there were vows said, and there were beautiful speeches. And you read a poem, Jess, that just spoke to my heart. And I just thought there was a reason why in scrolling, I heard you reading the last stanza of that poem too.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the timing on that.
Reading a poem back. I know. And it was just, where is it though? There's no pages in this. Where do I?
It's one of the first ones.
Page 1. Okay.
Ah, here it is. Yeah. So your presentation of that, how you performed that poem was exquisite. I was just shaking next to you. I just loved it, Jeff.
Thank you. I was thinking about
Yes.
I was thinking about the wind and the land and these, it was kind of like a pilgrimage that you sent us all on too, like the physical walking down, and it was really moving. That you heard that, like you said, that you heard that stanza, that you heard that poem, asked me about it. And it's like we write things and put things out into the world, and I hadn't thought about it in a long time. And then when you asked me about it, I grabbed out the book and I sent you the full copy, and I couldn't believe how perfect it was for everything that you were talking about. And it was just amazing. And just like the bravery of your grandson speaking, and like all of the speakers that you had, and all of I was really honored. It was really like powerful to be part of that, and I was really honored to be able to say it. And a funny thing, when we got married on the roof, my mom kept saying she couldn't hear our vows, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to speak very loud so everyone can hear what I'm going to say, because we were outside too, and it was like, and the wind was a factor and everything, and I was like, I was thinking about that, so that it was funny how all of these different things came into play. But it was, yeah, that was really special to be part of that.
It's nice when the elements are with you.
Yeah.
I mean, we're what, 85% water or something, our own bodies.
Yeah.
But we go about our lives not really acknowledging or ever thinking about it. It's like we don't think about our heart beating in our chests. We don't think of liquid flowing through us all the time.
Yeah. So
I think we need to slow down a little bit, a lot.
Yeah. That thought, I have this.
It was really powerful. Was Nicole Johnston, who is actually of the pagan community. Woman with very special energy and experience. And that was another really powerful moment for me.
Yeah.
Like, gosh, it was and after so long of being apart, it was like I felt you were also coming home to my arms, and I was coming home to your arms, and thinking that over the decades, like if you look back at those Gorilla House videos or images, you think, we were all so young, and we weren't thinking about any of these concerns really at the time.
Yeah.
We really have had a life of privilege, and the fact that, we were beginning a conversation about extraction and what it was doing, and capitalism and what it was doing.
Yeah.
But now it's crucial that we talk about these things.
Yeah.
The thing about Slope Studio Creative Resistance, we use art, music, drama, all of these outlets, and humor too, to deal with hard subjects.
Yeah. I think that's the key. Like, your choice to make an act of love was a really like creative rather than destructive act. That idea of like, that's how Rich always talks, like when there's a conflict or anything that arises, it's like coming to it from the creative rather than the subtractive. I think is so important in these days, because it can be really like you're saying, our world right now is so divisive rather than additive. And so I think the arts is such a good way of showing an alternative way of doing things or looking at things. Like when you're talking about Gorilla House, I was thinking about we had just did we just close down, or were we still open when the flood came?
Oh, right.
The flood came at the
And
end of the first year. So
Yeah.
it was June. It was right before I got keys in June,
yeah.
but we opened July 11th.
Oh, it was the following year.
It was the year after, yeah.
And so that was that moment was the first time, like Rich talks about the river a lot. And
I never really felt at home in Calgary until the snake came and swallowed the city. And I spent most of my life feeling more connected to the Pacific Ocean, because I grew up sort of half in Calgary, half in Vancouver, a little bit in Edmonton. So it wasn't until I really saw like the meat of the river tear the city apart. I was like, oh, the river's supposed to be here, and a lot of people put their houses, where they shouldn't, so.
yeah.
I had a very deep empathy for the river during the flood. Now I'm not wanting to minimize the pain that the people whose homes were flooded, but I didn't necessarily think that the river was the bad guy. Maybe the builders, maybe a little bit of it is like when you buy a home and there's 100-year flood, and you buy a place that's part of the 100-year flood. It's pretty exciting when you get to be part of that. But I definitely grew attached to that river once it, and I remember I didn't actually know that the flood was what it was, because there was a rumble night when they were talking about the flood, and I used to ride my bike from my apartment here to the rumble, and I just went past the barrier and rode along the river and the ground was cracking and trees were snapping off. And it was about halfway home. I was like, "Oh, this is stupid. Like I should be somewhere safe." But
like you said, you don't know.
But we got up close, and then when we were off school, instead of sitting around, we got coffee cups, and we went around and delivered coffee to the emergency workers. So it was, again, just being part of that whole system, being involved and connected to that whole thing.
And we had artist friends who were also suffering a lot. Mark had big damage. Chris Cran had big damage.
Yeah.
So we had friends who were having real problems come up because of all of that water too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the summer my mother died. That was the spring that my mother died, May 31st of that year. So I wasn't in town.
Oh, wow.
I got home to my mother in Ontario, and I watched from a distance what was happening to Calgary.
Wow.
And it
That would have.
it left me powerless.
Yeah. It would
I
have looked
did.
weird because we live downtown Calgary. If I open this curtain, we're in a high rise downtown Calgary, and I was looking out the window, and you could see that the road was wet. But while the TV was on outside my window, there was helicopters flying around, and it looked like World War Z. But it was beautiful outside, and there's a big puddle. But from the news broadcasts, it was so more apocalyptic than it actually looked. The river, it flows,
Mhm.
but it's not. The first night when it was ripping the trees in half, that was intense.
And
But they did play it up in the news quite a bit too.
Yeah, so that's what I was watching from Ontario. But anyway, this marriage it was a ceremony. It wasn't like we went into the licensing office and got a license. Ceremonial. I know I've had people ask me, like, what was your motivation? I've got to say it was probably mostly political, because it's like when people live together and they're not married, they know that their love is firm and they're connected and love goes on. Like, I was in love with the river, and the river loved me for all of these years. It wasn't like we needed the formality of it. But in a way, it's a strange kind of clickbait world, right? Like, will people notice? I mean, I wasn't going to be on the Isle of Roux, was I? But you thought to ask me.
You're welcome on the Isle of
You're
Roux
always
every
welcome.
week.
I'm just
So
gonna.
So this is like clickbait. I mean, how many people? We've got hordes of people watching, right?
Yeah, actually, quite by the end of the week, a lot of people watch, so it'll be really
it ranges
good to
between
share
around
your
2,000
ideas.
to 20,000 people, depending on how it gets promoted.
Yeah.
There's often about 100 people watching live. We can only see about 20 people at a time. I know a friend of mine was teasing me that sometimes, depending on where we do our promotion, it can look like there's 10 viewers that watched our YouTube, but in total, because we broadcast to different areas, depending on where we put our focus, it hits between 2,000 and I think our record is 22,000 viewers for one of the episodes, and that's for a 2-hour, just us sitting here blabbing. There shouldn't be anybody watching.
But it's fun, and since we have lots of friends, I just wanted to tell you, actually, Kathleen was just talking. We were at her marriage to the river on the weekend. So Kathleen got married to the river, and we were just talking about her ceremony and her just like the political motivation and the awareness, and that's what we were just chatting about. I know you're just in the car, so I thought I'd give you the background.
I wasn't quite expecting what I was going to hear when I joined, but marrying the river sounds like an amazing thing, and I'm just over the moon that someone would decide to do that.
So it was a beautiful ceremony. We were beside Old Man River, and the wind was blowing, and it was like very elemental. And Kathleen was just talking about being part of this artist collective and talking to a woman in England that had also married the river.
Was it Scotland?
Is it England or Scotland? The Avon River.
The Avon River.
Avon River, yeah.
Married the Old Man River with 8,000 people. There were 8,000 people who were fighting the building of the Old Man River Dam. And
I'm just checking to see if that stops.
am I freezing?
It was just
I
freezing.
think you might freeze less if you're small.
Oh, make me small then. As small as you can.
No.
Can I ask you? And there's two things that Jess and I interpreted differently at the wedding. One is I missed the name of the impish spirit that was wearing a long blue-green jacket. Who was that? Standing to your left at the wedding.
My cousin's son, Levi Cox.
Might have been Levi, yes.
Yeah.
Now, was Levi the best man, or was Levi an embodiment for the ceremony?
Hair Studios.
Yeah, I thought Levi was like a metaphor for like an embodiment for the river, and just that
Levi was chosen because he frolics in the Old Man River. He plays and jumps off of that great big high-level bridge. He plays in that river every summer, and as soon as I had to decide who was going to be the best man, it had to be somebody who was in relationship with the river like I was.
See, I had interpreted Levi as being sort of a body double for the river.
He's impish is a good word for Levi, actually. And he's the one at family reunions who puts on fun events for young kids, and he's playful, and he'll always be playful. I love him dearly.
My other question is it a monogamous wedding? Can other people still marry the river?
Oh, yes, because I'm just in that one location, right? So I'll be driving back there to sit in the same place and put my feet in the river there. Of course, the river is sort of a circular, it just feels like it's always flowing, and we imagine that it's always going to flow. But no, I liked the idea when I was down there. I was thinking, I wonder if 100 years ago, if somebody already married at the river at this spot or had that kind of connection with the river. I really wondered a lot about that. Have you ever read the book? Where did I put it? I was thinking about it the other night. Oh, you know what? Have you seen the movie Here? Here?
I'm not sure.
It's on Netflix. I recommend it.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
And there's a book, which is even more beautiful. It's a graphic novel, literally. The same title. And it's written by Richard. What's Richard's last name?
Roux?
McGuire.
Wow.
You would adore this book. Rich.
Yeah.
I was thinking, who would like this more? Every page shows a living room and a view and a piece of land, which over hundreds of years, like what was there, what was in that place at that time. And it gives you the date at the top or what year it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So prehistoric times right up to the future. It's just incredible.
That's very
Anyway, I really had that feeling there. I thought, okay, in 1989, there were 8,000 people here gathered from all over. There was Gordon Lightfoot, and there was Ian Tyson, and there was David Suzuki, and there was Chief Joe Crowshoe, and there was, who else? Andy Russell. There were all of these celebrities who were speaking out against the dam. And I thought, I wonder which people actually clambered down the side of the rocky face and went and sat by the river.
Yeah.
I wonder who was here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The passage of time. It's like when you drive past the location that was once the gorilla house.
Yeah.
Or now you drive past the Rumble House.
I have this weird feeling about rivers because they're always different rivers. It's never the same river. And so, like, they look the same, but the actual water's constantly moving. And every second it's a different river. And, I think about how fast rivers move away. And I also think about, like, it used to kind of blow my mind that in the winter the river's flowing, and it's flowing in the morning, it's flowing in the night, and it's flowing under the ice. And I had this image in my head when I saw the water cycle in grade 7, that the water evaporated into the sky and collected in the mountains and then flowed down the river. And one day in the spring I was like, you know what, this has been going all year long. Like, there's a lot of water coming. And I tried to envision like a sliver of the river. If it was an inch thick, if it was the Bowen, it was an inch thick, it'd be 30 or 40 yards long and 20 yards deep and 1 inch thick. And if I took a sliver out of the river, it would fill 100 bathtubs. But there's 100 bathtubs moving at the speed of a quick jog all day, every day, nonstop, every night, all day, all year long. Even in the winter when it's snowing, it's still flowing. It's mind-boggling to me that image of how the water cycle works sits in the book and makes it look like it piled up in the mountains.
And it's been doing that for our entire lifetimes.
Yeah.
And our grandparents' lifetimes and our great-great-grandparents' lifetimes. And people just take that magic, that incredible, awesome thing, and it just doesn't exist for them. The wondering about it and the marveling at it.
Yeah.
It's truly amazing.
They complain it's made its way into their basement, like, what a blessing.
I know.
What a blessing the river was there to get into your basement.
Can I share a little something from my spiritual life?
I'd love you to.
So as you guys know, I participate in a ceremony known as Sundance. And when we do the Sundance, we refrain from eating food and drinking water for 4 days. And the first 2 days are pretty hard. But that third and that fourth day, holy moly. And when we break our fast, we don't drink a huge jug of water. I drink a cup of water maybe this tall. And that's all it takes to keep me going after not drinking water for 4 days. That's how powerful and sacred water is. And we don't consider when we wash things or we take showers, or even let's say you're drinking a glass of water and there's just a little bit of water left in the cup and you toss that out. And, we really take for granted just how powerful this medicine really is.
Yeah.
May I know your name?
Sorry.
My name is Juan Ramirez, but I go by Balam One Spot. That's my preferred name.
What is it? Oh, I'm getting freezing.
Balam.
Balam?
Yeah.
Okay. Our group has been welcomed for learning about ceremony with Joe Eagle Tail Feathers and Standoff this year. And so we were actually present for this center pole raising before Sundance this year. And it was a big part of my journey to the river. The women have taught us all so much. Joe has taught us so much. We went to their pipe ceremonies. We went to Bill Wright's land as well. And so it helped to prepare me. And I laid tobacco, and I did feel very honored to be taught all of these lessons through the last several months. And I did carry the dancers this year in my heart as I went through these things. on my own as well. So thank you for all of those prayers that were on the center pole when I drove away from standoff. All those vows helped me to prepare for the vows and the commitment that I have now to nature in a very spouse-like way. I already have started reading in preparation for, I have to connect with the federal government because it's all charter. It's the freedom and rights of
Yeah.
nature that needs to be attended to. So, yeah. Thank you for sharing that
Wow,
that you did the fast, and thank you for your fast.
you're very welcome. We make a pledge as dancers to honor the people and do what we can to serve the people, whether it's with action or prayer. And to be included in something like we in the Dakota way, the raising of the center pole, we call that Tree Day. But it is a very powerful and sacred thing to us. Like we don't even let the tree touch the ground. We collectively catch it as a family before it touches the ground, because that's just how much these things mean to us. And myself, I am a member of family through adoption, but even the teachings that I hold and the space that I hold in community, I reserve it as a guest of the land, because I was born in Guatemala. So I was actually adopted. And I also carry a deep reverence and a deep respect and gratitude to be included in these beautiful teachings, because the old ways are for everybody.
Yes.
And I think you understand that, because it doesn't get much more traditional than marrying a river.
And I actually went through some of these ceremonies because I needed to have the conversation with Indigenous peoples about if I didn't want to tread or appropriate anything that was sacred to, as many people as I could ask. I needed to hear their thoughts about it. And I was taking this very seriously, very seriously. And I am so grateful at this time for Indigenous peoples the world over who are speaking out for land after all the shit that we have put on Indigenous peoples everywhere. And we've treated nature in the same way. And now I'm getting
It's difficult to talk about it without getting emotional, especially when you're connected to the land. I was watching a video today. It was a theological video where they were discussing creator versus creation, and how some people think we must worship the creator because it's separate from the creation. But in our indigenous way of life, we don't make that distinction. We don't. The creation is the creator, and we have just as much of a responsibility to honor nature the same way that we honor God. Truly.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been quite an interesting journey, and I'm grateful that you two invited me to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, because it was such a powerful moment, and then to be able to unpack it, because you were in this moment with so many different people and so many different elements too. I'm really happy that we got to hear more about your journey and your story.
Thank you, Jess. And your amulet, or your little piece that you gave me before the service, is inside I have a wooden box with a glass top that has my most treasured little items that I have picked up from nature. And so it's now in there, and it's next to the necklace that Nicole gave me before the service that had little turtles on it. Yeah. So it's in a very special place, and I will always cherish it.
Oh, thank you. That's really special. It was really the feather. I just like very quickly gave it to you because I didn't want to take away from your time. But last year during it was September 30th. We had the day off, and one of Rich's teachers that he works with is a guide and teaches like hunting and teaches different things at his school. And he took us hunting, and we had never been hunting before, and
we didn't know we were really going hunting. We thought we were going to bang the grass with sticks and startle the things that he was hunting. We're like full on hunting. Like
we thought we were going to be like the bait to like the shaker uppers, but it was a really powerful day as well because he was a really good teacher in terms of like talking about the practice of like just the practice of going out and teach with us as well. So it's like a really nice group. And in
fairness, the student was as much a guide as Travis was. So
yeah, so it was a whole day of like listening to stories.
Because Travis is like city folk and we're city folk, but Liam's actually like full on grew up. Liam was years ago, and I drew an elk or something at the gallery, and I kind of like I might have used a few photo references to guess how the knees bend and where the ankle should be. But he and two other kids were sitting there. I don't know how my drawing ended up at school. Maybe I needed to take it to school and seal it or something. But they were looking at my drawing and they were like identifying which kind of elk it was. I'm like, oh no, like you need to know I make up these things when I'm doing the antlers. And they're like, no, Mr. Taylor, you got this. And like right down to the one kid that could tell from a footprint whether a deer was in heat or not. I was like, how do you guys know this stuff? But they live a different life than we do.
So you were going to say, Jess, about the feather.
So when we were out and we were listening, it was a whole day of stories, and I actually did magic 8 ball. I did I shot a duck, and it was a golden eye.
It was the only good shot of the day, actually.
And it was such a I was like it was such an overwhelming moment. And Travis he showed me how to clean it, and we did it all right there with our hands, and then he kept it, and then we cooked it that night when he dropped us off, and we like said thank you, and it was this whole thing. So I kept the feathers, and we ate the meat, and just this like moment of like overwhelming awe of this creature. So it was a golden eye duck, and the blue iridescence underneath was just so like you couldn't see it. It was like a brown black duck, but underneath, like the underneath feathers were these beautiful iridescent blue feathers. And so like I only by the end only had a few left, but that was like one really special thing that I wanted to share. And then the eggs were from a farm from Cochrane. Actually, you're just driving back from Cochrane. It was from a farm because one of the parents gave a whole carton of farm eggs to Rich, and I couldn't believe that there's like blues and greens and the different color eggs. So I cleaned all of them, and I kept all the shells, and I made that little vial of all the blue things, thinking about there's this festival in May about this one iteration of Mary in this one place in France, and it's all just like blue and the sea and the importance of water again. And so I had this little vial that I had put together for this sacred thought, and it was perfect when you asked us to come. I was like, that's a good gift to pass on. So there's, yeah.
It will be treasured. It will be treasured.
Sounds like it's in a good place.
It's in a good place, Jess. So, yeah, I don't have closing thoughts because it's a very open-ended thing. I just feel called to continue using my art where I can. The books that have inspired me would include The Diviners by Margaret Lawrence, who says that the river flows both ways, which if you watch the water long enough, you understand what that means. And also, it means relative to our family lineage, our family, we have the ancestors who we have to always honor, and we have people of the future who we also have to think about. So in the Indigenous way, I believe they have 8 generations. I don't know, or 7 generations.
7 generations is
Yeah.
what Sitting Bull said, yeah.
Yeah. So I try to keep that in mind too, and that book captures that. And the other book is Le Petit Prince by Saint-Exupéry, where
we live by that book.
Yeah.
where the writer explores the idea of things being in danger of speedy disappearance and always being responsible for our rows. And the rows that we have is this water, this land that is not even ours, but we need to steward this land, the water, the air, and we have to do it for those 7 generations. So I love you all.
Love you, Kathleen. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about your journey.
And it was wonderful to meet you as well. Now, I don't know, this is a screen with all these different things in it.
Well, you're more than welcome to hang out. And so what Rich is doing is he's doing illustrations for a book that Lorraine's putting out. So Lorraine is our publisher, and Rich has known her forever. And she has written her own book now. So she's always been, she supports lots of different writers. And she's been just really incredibly supportive. And now she's written her own book, and Rich is doing little illustrations for her story. So that's what Rich is working on. So yeah, so you're more than welcome to hang out, and we can just keep chatting, or
get a paintbrush,
or yeah, if you want to get a paintbrush. But that's what Rich is doing.
You know what I have I can work on is I wanted to give a gift to each person at the wedding, and I wet tea bags, and I made tea, and I dried tea bags, and I harvested all of the tea, and then got flattened out all of these pieces of tea paper, and then I didn't get anything done with them. So I might just leave you for a moment to get that, and I can sit here and putz.
Of course, yeah, that's what I like using this time for. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm working on embroidery for our bedroom. I might go get more black and white thread, actually. No, I won't. I won't leave you. Should I not leave you? That was really nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah. I'm not done.
I know. I'm liking it.
Are we getting the next one?
The next one is a question mark.
Don't get the next one.
That's not what I was kidding. I wasn't. I'm not.
You lie to me sometimes. They're not like deal breaking lies, like we can't be married anymore, but like you totally lie to me. And you think I don't know. And I can totally tell. I used to have this friend Sham. He used to lie or fib, I guess, a little bit, and you could always tell when he was fibbing because he would whisper. Or maybe if he didn't know what he was talking about, he'd lower his voice to a whisper. But like about half the things he said were whispers. Yeah. And I was like, you, my friend, have a tell.
Like Sully has red ears.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about Sham when I was talking about Sully's ears. Because Paul didn't have a tell. Could never tell when Paul was lying. Well, just like the odds were good, but like, is Kathleen back? Kathleen, here's a funny story, and I wasn't going to tell you, but then I heard you say you hadn't finished your tea bags, and I thought maybe I will tell you. Is
About tea bags?
No, when we're walking through the grass at your wedding, and I wanted to find a really good piece of garbage for your as a gift, and I found a bottle cap, and I was like, Kathleen will love this. That I picked up a bottle cap at the wedding to remove from the edge of the lake and clean and preserve and have forever as a memento. I specifically wanted like a garbage piece that was metal. And it was like I remembered that there would be a bottle cap. And I'm trying to think of what it was because Jess and I quit drinking.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. And when I picked up the bottle cap, it was Heineken.
Oh, that's where that came
Yeah. And so Jess found my Heineken bottle cap. I just bathroom.
It was in the garbage.
No,
It was.
it's on the sink for me to wash.
Oh.
Did you throw
It's already in the garbage somewhere.
Well, I was going to keep it as a memento. I actually pulled it because I thought it would make some nice piece to make a piece of artwork out of. And then I got greedy. Maybe this is my punishment for getting greedy, but I decided I wanted a memento of the wedding.
So you kept it.
Like, just think about it. Some asshole went to get drunk by the river and left his bottle cap in the dirt. And now it's this coveted gift that I wanted that I didn't give to you that apparently Jess threw out. And in the end, it all worked out fine because it got recycled, I guess. But yeah, like I had guilt over keeping your bottle cap, but I wanted something special to remember the day.
Well, thank you for thinking of me. Thank you. And you're most welcome to keep something you pick up to give to me for yourself.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Kathleen, did we talk when Darcy passed?
No, I didn't get any information on anything apart from the fact that he did die.
Mm.
So I didn't know there was a service or I would have been there.
I think it was kind of a closed service. So,
Oh, was it? Only certain people?
well, like his son invited me.
Oh, okay.
It was a
Yeah.
matter of how much space they had.
Oh, okay.
And
It's okay. It was okay.
to tell you the truth, the service was pretty jarring.
Sad.
And
Sad.
actually, I knew Darcy's son independently of Darcy. That I just thought he was one of the coolest guys at the gallery until one day he came in and said, "Do you know where my dad is?" And I was like, "Who's your dad?" Because I just thought he was like one of us, like, you know what I mean? Like I would feel like I know Kathleen, and then if I found out I knew Kathleen's dad and I didn't know it was his, I think to some extent Darcy was shy about his
Family?
not embarrassed of his son, but embarrassed of wanting to protect his son.
Or protective of his family life.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
protective of
So
him.
it was like there was a lot of jarring things that happened, but I had a good chance to get to know his son even better after Darcy passed, and I learned a lot about myself over the year too. I guess it's about a half a year since that happened, but it's weird because I personally was looking for Darcy so much since Gorilla House that if I saw a guy kind of hunched over riding a BMX bike, I'm like, is that Darcy? Does he need food? And then, or is that Darcy? Is he, is Darcy doing well? And that kicked into overdrive after Darcy passed. Like that for about 2 months, I was obsessively looking for Darcy, and then remembering that I couldn't find him. And I think trying to remember the dates of things, because it might have felt like months and only been weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like
grief is like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grief is like that. Otherworldly.
Mm-hmm.
Surreal. Sometimes you wonder if you're dreaming or if you're awake.
No, and I just realized why it seemed longer than it was. Is that we were kind of looking out for Dax over Christmas, and at Christmas Darcy had frozen his hands. So we were in.
That story was so sad.
Yeah, we were in and out of hospital, chasing around after Dax and Darcy, and we ended up finding Dax way more often. And also we had Dax's dog. So there was a lot going on, and I had this.
You had Dax's dog?
Yeah, we took care of Dax's dog for a while Dax was taking care of Dax. My mom actually took the dog on for a little bit.
Wow. Yeah, Teresa's little Cisco died. Yeah, just yesterday or today.
Oh no.
Yes, the little Chihuahua.
Oh. I'll
I want to see her.
Oh.
I still feel bonded to all those people.
For sure.
Well, when you're saying if you ever watch the Gorilla House movies, I think in the span of time where in between Darcy passed and the service, Jess and I watched the first 50 films, just one after the other, and
they're pretty powerful. Like,
yeah, enough time passed that it was like watching some really interesting people rather than like feeling like the vanity of being part of it. Like
it was so separate from us.
Yeah, like I kept looking at those people, wishing I could be that cool.
But also, like, you have this video of your mom, like you know what I mean? Like you have these videos of like Oliver growing up, and you have these videos like it's like separate people who get to watch them objectively now, but it's also like
it gave me actually a weird sense of like parenting, because like a parent has a kid, right, and they find out about a kid, almost a year before the kid's born, and then there's like a year of the kid doesn't really do too much. And then there's these first 5 years that like mean the most to us, that the kids completely wipe out. And then, your experience with your kids is 4 times longer than your kids' experience with you, because their memories work differently.
Yeah.
And they go through different shifts, and like, like issues when I'm talking to my kids, if my kids said they liked peanut butter when they were 5, I still think they like peanut butter, and they're like, "I was a different person back then." We're like, "Well, I'm pretty much the same," like. So it's a really, I think I had a very similar experience one day talking to Donna, and I realized that Donna was kind of going through an unemployed period, almost like a retirement period, and so by Wednesday she was like had been spending all week wanting to come in and talk to us. Whereas in my case, I was teaching all day, running gallery all night, and then at the time that we shut the gallery down, it was like, now it's time for Rich to have some quiet time. And Donna would come into the gallery, and she was so incredibly patient. She would just sit there waiting to tell us about her week, and she would approach me just as I was putting things away, and I remember like just sort of having to say to her, like, Donna, I love you so much, but like I think we're moving in different universes right now. Like
time is different for both of us.
Yeah. And I've been there where it was like at one point when I was kind of unemployed and I was having a rough time. I remember minutes were like days, and then when you're teaching, like you blink and you're back in the classroom, like, oh, I didn't really get my lesson plans done last night because I was hosting the Rumble every Wednesday for 12 years. So it was just funny that like how out of sync we were. I think we're pretty out of sync with our kids too. Even when you're really close with your kids, their perception is so different than your perception. We're in completely different experiences in the same space.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a second.
Have you guys traveled down to the piece of land that Daniel got and done anything down there?
Odette?
Yeah. No, we
Down in
haven't.
Milk River area. Have you guys been down there yet?
No, not yet.
We're just entering a phase, like literally this week, where we get to do what we want to do. So
Because you were working on a book. I did read that online.
the book happened over the teacher strike. That one wasn't too hard.
Another book.
We've been on a basically on a 5-day cycle. Well, really like a 7-day a week we were working, but we had to fit everything into 5-day cycles since Jess and I met, right? So
Right.
even shutting down the gallery we're just starting. It's been a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I would say this summer, we haven't got to it yet. In the next few weeks, this summer becomes our first sort of open free time. That even just closing down the gallery became so consuming that there was no room to travel.
And I think like a little bit of like a different kind of grief too, and like different kinds of processing.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like.
But we are going to drive all over. Well, about half of Canada. We're gonna drive to Winnipeg and Gimli and Edmonton in a loop. So we're going east, north, west, and back south in that circle.
I'm listening. I just realized that my little container was leaking while I was sitting here. Oh boy. I guess I had a hole in it. But I am listening.
What's after the yeah, so we're actually, you're saying you're driving across Canada. Is that
I'm driving to PEI.
When are you leaving?
Wow.
I'm leaving the 27th on my mother's birthday.
Do you still sub?
No, I do not sub. I subbed 3 times after COVID return.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so painful that kids had changed so much. As did authority, as did the institution. Everybody tied into teaching was impacted by that 2 years.
Yeah.
So it was really strange to go into a school setting and see how different it was when I didn't have to be there. So
Yeah.
That's totally fair.
Did you get to know Galen at the gallery very well?
yes,
Did you know Galen through teaching or just the gallery?
through the gallery only.
Because Galen just retired.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
I'm starting to count the years.
I'm happy for him. That's wonderful.
Yeah, he's been taking care of bees. Yeah, last year he started with a couple hives, and he's been learning all about the bees and their teachings too. So he's been.
I think the last time I called him, he had a swollen eyeball because he'd just been stung by a bee like 10 minutes earlier.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So he's busy and happy.
Oh boy. I dribbled blue water everywhere.
I think I have 3.5 years left.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, like I started thinking when I had 5 years left that it would take me 4 or 5 years to fire me, and I started relaxing a bit. I don't know why I spent most of my career expecting to get fired, but
Well, I remember you waiting to get hired on, never mind when you were in my classroom subbing.
Oh.
Yeah.
You were waiting to get hired on. So when you think of it, I taught for 30 years. I subbed for 15 years.
Yep.
That's 45 years. I hung in.
Did you hit your full pension?
Yep.
I'm at that year where everybody's asking me if I want to pull my pension, and I think the answer is going to be no.
If you want to what?
Well, all the people that are under 55 are really excited about pulling their own pension and investing their money themselves.
Oh.
Almost like a bit of a cult, really.
No, I think there's a lot of fear when you retire. I had friends who were afraid to retire, and I just was so excited about the idea of making my own choices around my life.
Yeah.
And choosing meant that I still wanted to teach.
Yeah,
I wanted to do these sub jobs, and it was the kids started calling me painter lady because I traveled around with a bucket of paint, and I told the teachers just plan for half of your day, and then the other half of the day I'll paint with the kids. So that's what I did. And so when I went back after COVID, it was just weird. First of all, a lot of the art rooms had shut down. Like
in our school, our big beautiful art room got turned into the quarantine room, and I had to I taught like art, and I had my art cart, and so I like right after I got that like going really fast back in the art room because I couldn't believe that they decided to make the biggest room in the school like the most underused one. It was really yeah. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I went to one school and they had all of these gym pads from the gymnastics unit laying out in a big room. And I said, what's going on here? This is our sick room. And the kids were laying in lines in this room. Anyway, it was a different time.
Yeah.
So it was time for me. It was too weird.
When I retire, whatever school Jess ends up at, I'm gonna volunteer in her classroom because she's gonna be working a little longer because she's younger. And I'm just gonna go in as a volunteer. I'll be like an extra art teacher in the classroom. I might sub if they like have somebody that can't get a sub into the building or something.
Right.
I'm not looking to sub, and I'm just gonna be sort of a volunteer local artist in the classroom, and I'll go in and paint when I'm welcome, and skip the staff meetings. So I'll do I'll do the parts that I like. But I also kind of want to be able to start telling people what I really think of them. I've been on my best behavior for the last 23 years.
I know. You've been professional, as have I. I'm even guarded about what I say here, though.
I should be.
I should be.
It's just, I am curious if the school boards I'm curious if they're just to what degree they're influenced by the current government. Shall I say it that way?
There seems to be a pattern.
I'm curious.
Teachers tend to be socialists. You're going to be working full-time hours for, lower middle class wages. You're going to be working your ass off. You would have to be a socialist to some extent to want to be a teacher.
Yes.
But then I realized there are a lot of teachers that just do it because their partner has a job and it's just a respectable career. And they come from families where you're expected to have a respectable career. But I do notice there's a pattern of administration and the other side, right? Like where I would think we're all a bunch of pinko commies. I think like especially the upper administrations tend to also be better paid people and maybe a little more inclined to empathize with the fascists or whatever. But
I know, but they present in this fake way. Like we're not getting the real read until we see. And I gotta say, I've been able to see some of the letters that you get by email.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when you see the emails, you go, oh, wow. Okay, it's coming through here loud and clear.
I got one last novel in me too, which might affect my subbing. So.
You've got one last novel in you.
And if somebody's giving me a hard time, I'm like, look, I'm a local bestseller, and you just made chapter 9. Like, if you want to be a villain, you keep going. My first book is about a guy who maybe shouldn't be teaching because he stays up all night talking to trolls and monsters in the park. My second book is about that guy when he was in grade 5 or grade 8, sorry, and what it would be like growing up in a world that's not designed for you. My last book's going to be everything I didn't say for the 25 years I taught.
That's such a good title.
Yeah.
That's a really good title.
Title my book.
Are your hands red? Your hands?
No. You know what that is? This camera is my my Sky camera. And I didn't spend enough time working on the lights. So the contrast is turned up on this camera quite a bit so that you can see the lines I'm making because I'm using a ballpoint pen.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Because all of a sudden I saw these red hands and I thought,
Well, I think it's also because I have this red lens that I've been playing with, which might have distracted you. Kathleen, did you shoot on film in your life? Have you moved away from film to use digital?
I moved away from film, but I did use film. Are you kidding? For years.
So I shot on Super 8 film when I was a kid, and I was a hyperactive kid. So the Super 8 film was a special kind of torture for me because it took 6 months for it to get back from to get out. By the time I was in junior high, I became obsessed with getting a video camera. And when digital came around in the 90s, I immediately became obsessed with digital because it allowed me to shoot. Because I was, can you grab my camera?
Yeah.
I was never in a position to afford film. I think it's on there. Oh, and so I've always loved film. My uncle was a film photographer, but my mind isn't wired for learning. And then during the teacher strike, there was a point where Jess had put, we were getting groceries, and she said, "Can you put some celery in the cart?" And I was like, "No, not enough nutrients. Like, we lost double paycheck during the strike." And we managed to get through the strike. I sold some paintings, and Jess got a job at a record store, and I sat next to her at the record store, and I wrote an entire book. And at the end of the month, we kind of made it through, and then I spent 2 months rent on these vintage cameras. And then since then, we bought the equipment and the chemicals we would need for a dark room. And we shoot probably, I think we're shooting about 30 rolls of film a month.
I've been watching your posts.
Yeah.
I knew you were going analog.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting because, like Jess's father is a photographer, but when we talk to him about film, he just like, why would you do that? You can take a million photos for free. Galen's, I think, 5 years older than me. And so when I talk about film, he's like, why would you do that? You can shoot in, but I think because it wasn't available to me as a kid, it was something I always coveted. My uncle was a photographer. He had a dark room. You literally can't teach me anything. Every single thing I know, I had to like crunch down for myself. And so photography felt like, in terms of like shooting and composition, a natural fit. I've been shooting photos since I was 17, seriously shooting, but developing photos seemed to have too much of a learning curve for me to understand the process. And then I'm also teaching high school science 24 and 14. So I really come at the lessons by starting at the core. I usually start with an element or an atom, and I work my way backwards. So learning how film works with the silver, and you're essentially taking microscopic bits of silver and tarnishing them with light. And that's how you make the image. And so it's been really, I paint as a means of communication, or I'm illustrating now as a favor to Lori. We kind of make artwork here on the broadcast. To be totally honest, it's more of a novelty than a core essence. Right now, my core essence is exploding through the photography. I think it's a reaction to, I can see how abstract art was a rejection against the camera 100 years ago. My connection with film analog photography right now, I think, is it's like a rebound off of the AI intruding on what I do as a creator. I would have CBC called me, I think, like 2.5 years ago to ask me what I thought about AI, and I was trying to be sort of positive, saying like, well, anything that pushes me is going to be great. It only took about 4 months to go, oh, there used to be a career where I could fall back on illustrating. If you'd told me 3 years ago that I would get replaced as an illustrator by AI, I would have thought you were nuts. But why would somebody, if all my furniture was handcrafted, if all my clothes were hand woven, if I had that kind of commitment to supporting artisans that I didn't own anything made in a factory, I'd be able to sit here and self righteously say, "Oh, how dare you use AI on your whatever?" But people are going to do what they're going to do, and if they can get 75% of the quality for free, the career of being an illustrator disappeared.
That's the nice thing of Lori hiring you to do the illustrations for a book where she's discussing AI. Is
hand
really
drawing.
interesting. I love that.
But I feel like part of the push towards photography, I think, is I'm looking for something that's more authentic than. Well, definitely, obviously, it starts with the AI, but somehow right now photography feels more authentic to me than drawing, which I never would have imagined. I know I can't defend that point, and I shouldn't compare drawing and photography or painting and photography. But right now, the core thing keeping me sane is dipping into light and having it impose itself on paper treated with silver.
That's what we're talking about, is like the alchemy of it all.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different paper.
Yeah, it's totally fine. But that's what's keeping me sane. And it's also what's kind of got us out of, like, when we shut down the gallery, we decided to turn our home here into a portal. And so Rumble House turned into the Isle of Roux, and the Isle of Roux is once a week we go through this ritual where our apartment stops being our apartment. It starts becoming this time traveling mystical experience.
Yeah.
But to ground me back to the earth, I've started shooting photography, and
I like that.
It's, you know what, it's similar, I think, to my relationship with the river is very similar to the silver that floats through the lens of my camera,
And you're also really ruled by the moon too. There's all these things that are very connected: the silver and the water and the moon and the.
It is kind of crazy how they all tie in, yeah.
Because the idea of like the cyclical, and
I really have enjoyed teaching. I taught junior high science, and it was like just a job that I was able to do. But teaching the Science 1424 has completely enriched my life. That I'm pretty sure the darkroom practice only came about because I was thinking about atoms and how things stick together. And it's funny because I got invited to teach Science 24, and I opened up the textbook, and the very first page I looked at, I'm like, who the hell cares? And I flipped the page, just like, who cares about this? And I flipped the page, and I'm like, who cares about this? And the only way that I could make it meaningful was to go several layers deeper, which I think most of the science teachers start out with, right? Like they understand at the core, this course is kind of built maybe at the surface for kids that aren't going into university to do sciences. The only way I could come at it was to go even deeper to the core. So I opened the science. I ended up teaching Science 24 first and Science 14 second. I opened up the first chapter was chemistry, and I was like, I'm an adult and I'm pretty bright, but I don't think I know what chemistry means. So I went around the school. I started asking people like, hey, what do you think chemistry means? And the teachers would be like, like chemicals and stuff. I'm like, you would be so mad if you asked one of your students a question and they repeated the question as the answer. Like, but then I'd ask my wife, what's chemistry? And she's like, like chemicals and stuff. And I was actually thrown out of class quite a bit as a kid. So there were some major gaps in my learning that I had to reteach myself. Well, not reteach, but teach myself so that I was able to teach science. I was like learning a lot of it on the fly. And I was kind of very quickly ashamed at how little I knew. And then kind of shocked how little everybody else knows. And then
very quickly aware that it's a ruse.
And actually, so Travis, the guy that took us hunting, if I could speak for Travis, he wears a T-shirt that says, I like my bike, I like fishing, and about 3 people, and that's it. And everybody freaks out when they see him in that shirt. But one day I had the gall. He walks in, I'm like, Travis, am I one of your people? Some days. And I was like, wow, that's quite a compliment from you. So, like,
where did you guys meet him?
At school.
Oh, okay.
Science teacher. He's like the real science teacher.
He's the science teacher.
Yeah. I'm the fool. I'm the fool.
And he hunts.
Yeah. Well, it kind of happens. I think there's something in Cochrane where you evolve when you taught there long enough, right? Like even myself. Um, who was I telling this to recently? It was Shannon Boyle. She asked me, "Oh, and how are you doing in Cochrane?" Because she knows I'm a little flaky, and Cochrane's like probably is the opposite of flaky as you can get. And you know what I really appreciate about living downtown, where I might be walking around with an anoxyl kit in my backpack, and then driving out of downtown to Cochrane, where it's like you're going into like a Christmas snow globe, right? Like everything's like you expect there to be sort of a soundtrack as you pass through the streets. And what I found though was at first I was a little judgy. Um, and I had to change really fast. And I realized I had grown into a world, the art world and the hippie, pinko, commie, leftist side of the universe where maybe I felt a little superior to everybody else because I was so enlightened. And I remember just the first week of school seeing these kids, maybe they were a little, um, what's so sheltered, but I'd see them sort of the way they would wait for the buses after school. And I imagine this is what kids were like on the Little House on the Prairie, or I imagine this is what kids that don't watch too much TV would be like. And you know, I've grown an empathy for the other side of politics working out in Cochrane. Like I've grown an empathy for people with different beliefs. I mean, I used to joke a lot when I got out there because everybody I met, I'd ask them what their favorite dinosaur was, and it was just a code word to find out if they believed in dinosaurs, right? Like, but then you know what? You're teaching somebody, and their parents maybe take dinosaurs at face value when it suits them, and then they have other beliefs. And as much as I might think it's my place to tell them that I'm right and their parents are wrong, it's not. And so it's been a really humbling experience to work with a population that is so different that I am, and to recognize, as much as I might feel like I'm right about everything, that there's a real honor in not.
We've been talking about grace a lot.
Yeah, there's honor and grace in not choosing what other people should believe, right? And so that's been tough, right? Like I had to rewrite a whole bunch of things. I used to, in my science classes at St. Mike's, tell the kids, listen, my family's been here for 300 years, but that's nothing compared to maybe like a situation where this person's family's been here for 10,000 years, right? And that was science that I learned in anthropology class. When I got out to Cochrane, I had to relearn that, you know, because there's people that live near Cochrane that'll tell you that they came out of the mountains. You know, they were made out of rocks, and they've been here since the beginning. And this 10,000 years is a myth, and I have no right to argue with that. So I just listen to what people are saying and thinking, and try and find ways to be sometimes science adjacent to what they believe, and sometimes my own beliefs adjacent. And it's been really enlightening and tough too. Tough because there's some core beliefs that I think that are worth fighting for, and I recognize it's not my place. I'm not in that place for the sake of fighting those beliefs. So I think earlier in my career, I had my own set of beliefs as to what was right or wrong, and if something was wrong, I'd still say it. And
well,
now,
sorry, I get so excited. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I've grown, especially with intolerance. I had to grow a layer of tolerance to the intolerance to avoid becoming a hypocrite.
Right.
I think 20 years ago, if I saw an Antifa guy punching out a Nazi, I would celebrate, you know. But now I'm trying to understand. So let's talk a little bit about politics. Can't,
Before you leave, though, your observations of your journey yourself,
yeah.
I think, though, nobody expects you, though, Rich, to surrender your values.
I haven't. No.
You don't have to. You get to hold on to those
Yeah.
as dearly as the others get to hold on to theirs.
Yeah.
It's just that you are saying you can tolerate when you hear differences, you can tolerate it without losing your mind or
I had to grow that skill. Yeah.
yeah.
Because I took it for granted before. I think having lived in a city with artists and around city folk, I had a big enough mass that if I disagreed with one friend of mine about global warming or something, that would drive me into a frenzy. Whereas now, I might be teaching. I was teaching a kid this year, and I was talking about fossil fuels, and I offhandedly said, "Oh, like like you sticking a dinosaur in your car engine." I was making a joke about sticking a dinosaur in a car engine, and he straight up called me out and said, "That's just a myth made up by the Rockefellers, that dinosaurs aren't made of oil and gas." And I'm like, "Oh, that's an interesting point. Where did you get this point?" He's like, "My dad." And I was like, "Okay, is it my place to tell your dad he's wrong?" And so what I did was I'd heard similar sort of like arguments from people like Alex Jones, or I don't listen to Alex Jones, but I knew that these conversations were out there. And so I went and I did a little more reading.
I didn't know that, Rich. I find that fascinating. I didn't know that was even something that people.
Okay, because
I didn't know that.
It's a stretched truth, because prehistoric plants and animals are what oil's made out of.
Right.
But it was mostly algae and plankton. And so to some extent, it's not true that we're sticking Stegosaurus in our cars, but we joke about fossil fuels, but they're fuels that were trapped in the fossilized plankton, fossilized. So the problem,
I'm sure there was a bit of meat mixed in there. I don't think, I don't, you know what I mean? How things rot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bodies decompose, things grow out of them, mushrooms and all.
Yeah. So what I realized working out there is I always thought, like, let's say this is my leftist pinko thinking, and then I see a binary of what the opposite would be, right? And then I might have another leftist pinko thinking, and I see another binary of what the opposite would be, right? And then I might have another leftist thinking idea, and then there's another binary. And I'm constantly thinking the opposite of my ideas are what these crazy people are thinking. What I didn't realize is that this here, and this here, and this here, these three are my ideas, and then the other ideas are like this.
Yeah.
They're nowhere near me, and they have their right-leaning ideas, and then they have their right-leaning assumptions. And so these are my ideas, and the opposite of my ideas aren't like this. These are my ideas, and these are their ideas, and they're near each other, but they're not touching at all. They're not like this, right? They're not like left and right. It's not like one side and the other side. It's that I have these beliefs, and another group of people have these beliefs, and they're so near each other. We think we're having the same conversation, but we're not at all.
I love the center right ideas these days.
Like Jason Kenney seems so reasonable all of a sudden.
I mean, he seems so reasonable. And yet when we were living with all of that, we were
like shocked by
him. And now it's like he's so benign.
When Nenshi was running against Farkas, I'd said out loud, maybe even on social media, I said, if Farkas wins, I'm going to close the gallery. And I didn't mean that to be like, if you guys don't vote the way I want you to vote, I'm going to have a hissy fit and run away. What I meant is I didn't want to put the work in to running this space for a city that would let the greatest mayor in the world disappear. And now I see like Daniel Smith picking fights with Farkas, and I'm like, leave him alone. He's cute, like.
I know.
I'd have him over for dinner now,
I like his videos on the train.
Yeah.
Like I can't believe it's like we're living in a dream world. I don't know if I'm asleep or awake, seriously.
Or do you not sometimes think like Mark Carney's the most reasonable fiscal conservative you've ever considered, and then the conservatives just loathe him. He's a banker. He's what they've been asking for since I was born. And he does seem kind of, center to me, coming from where I start.
Well, at the time, I seriously, although I have a lot of concerns about where he stands on climate and environment currently, at the time it was like a chess game rather, not chest game.
Yeah.
Chess game where we had a decision we had to make as Canadians for what was going to work best, knowing we had that Nimrod to the south. I think it became sort of a strategic play. It wasn't even about what we believed or wanted. Now he's in this position, so we're accepting his platform even when it doesn't. Well, people are now standing up and saying they're not.
Isn't he kind of compromising in a way that we don't want him to,
Right.
Yet then, like, I think I noticed the other day about Daniel Smith and Pierre Poilievre is they don't seem to like half the country, like the way they talk about liberals is they can't wait to get elected so they can hurt the liberals. And like, that's half the people,
Yeah.
And I've never heard Mark Carney speak negatively about conservative people.
No.
The idea of a politician hating half of their population, it's like, and it's tough, right? Like, because I want to say I liked Trudeau, but he was a hard guy to like because he was like so pompous, and so like when I see those trucks where people would write a bad word to I just remember getting in trouble for saying that word out loud. I got manhandled by a cop because he overheard me use that word. I didn't have it printed on my car about their prime minister. So it's like I can kind of, even as a pinko hippie communist, I can kind of empathize. I got to stop calling myself a communist because I'm going to get shot. But and I'm not really a communist. I'm just a little bit
socialist.
I think Jesus would have been a socialist. But it's crazy because I did there's aspects of Trudeau that just made me want to like throw up, And so I can understand to some extent if you were coming from the other side why they loathed him so much. But Carney just seems like he's being like so reasonable, and even when he's being reasonable, he's trying to balance these extremes where even the people he's supporting are kind of angry at him for including the extremists' beliefs. But he seems to be interested in supporting everybody. And
well, like you said, that shift of like knowing that you're right and that shift to like listening to everybody and trying to figure out where they're coming from is like.
But every time I hear Danielle Smith speak, right, if she was one of my students, I would just pull her aside and like, this has got nothing to do with helping people. You just want to hurt somebody. Like let's just call it what it is. You felt like hurting somebody, so you did this, and we can forgive you and we can move on, but don't pretend like it was the right thing to do, like there's so much malice. And and it's crazy because, well, also Kathleen, I don't know about you, but I look like I might be a conservative, right? So like I get in the elevator in my building and
I don't think you look like you could be conservative. That's a funny thing to say.
look at my hair and my face and my skin.
No,
Like a gray
no.
haired white guy, but I
am
nothing about you exudes that. Like you always, he'll ask me when he puts on sunglasses if he looks like a cop or like if he looks like he
I
looks
I look like a cop.
like no cop wears pants like that or like no, like you have this crazy cool pompadour hair going on. Like that's it's white, but it's not lame. Like
You know, like if I get in the elevator, I think there's I only know this because he said it, and I'm ashamed to repeat it. But I got in the elevator one day, and this guy gets in the elevator and he goes, "Oh, you must be the other white guy in this building." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was shocked that he thought that I was okay having a conversation like that.
yeah.
And then I was like,
It's weird, that he would make that observation.
yeah. Oh, and like after he made that observation, it's like he poisoned my mind. I was like, oh, I am. Me and this other guy are the if you count Jess and my son, we're like the entire population. But like I would have never thought that. And I was kind of wounded that he looked at me and he thought it would be
Thought
okay to
that.
say that to
Yeah,
me, right?
yeah.
Based on
That's-
oh,
It's a strange elevator conversation, I've got to say.
can I show you something? Just don't.
Yes.
Are you sticking around till the end?
Well, what time does it end?
In
like 10
13 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I'm sticking around.
I'll be right back. Hold on.
Hey, I was gonna ask how your stuff was at the Stampede. Did you guys go on rides?
Oh yeah, we went to the Stampede and we went on rides and Felix and Oliver had a nice time and yeah, how did it go for you?
I was there Sunday. It was okay. I spent 2 hours in the Western Oasis looking at art.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Kelly, have you met Kathleen before? So Kelly's just in that one block working in her studio and Kathleen is there. So yeah.
I recognize a voice, I think. I recognize her voice.
Awesome.
Do you know where
Did
my
Rich go on any rides?
Yeah, we went on all the rides. Rich and I just didn't go on the one drop one that they liked going on.
Oh,
What do you
the drop one?
Yeah. What do you
Oh, the drop of doom? Is that what they call it?
think so?
Kelly?
Yeah.
I can't feel anything on the rides.
Well,
I
you're not supposed to. It's supposed to be like this wind in your hair is what I say.
I do have a motorcycle.
Like that too.
I don't.
But I'm saying that, like, did you like any of the rides that go upside down or not really?
I'm not wired right. I have no thrill capacity on a ride.
I don't get thrilled. I just kind of go, oh, I'm upside down. Wee. That's about it.
No, I don't like. To me, I go on the rides because Felix went. Okay, Kathleen, look what I got here. I bought this. Travis, the science teacher, was away on a sick leave, and
Good
so
hunting shirt.
I bought this to be funny because I teach in Cochrane. And I was just like, all the staff I work with wear this exact shirt. And I thought it'd be funny if I started wearing it. And I was wearing it in honor of my friend who was away on a sick leave. So when he came back, I bought this awesome pair of boots. And it wasn't until they arrived that I realized that they were mucklucks. And so Travis wears this shirt and mucklucks every day. And then I realized when he was coming back that I was still dressed like him. And I just missed him. So anyways, but I purposely don't wear this shirt because it suits me so well. And then I bought it and it's comfortable, but I primarily just wore it to school because I was being funny and nobody took me as funny. They're just like, oh, Rich is finally dressing normal. But
And you look good in it.
well, this is what I was going to tell you.
You do.
Took me a really
Exactly. He looks good in it.
Took me a really long time to admit that this is true, but it's absolutely true, and it's 1000% predictable. Canadians are nicer to me in this shirt. It's like the opposite of wearing like a t-shirt with an anarchy sign on it. It's like this is the conformist shirt, and when I put it on, like people talk to me about what kind of truck I have, and like this shirt is like
an opener. It's a conversation opener. People feel safe to approach you.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, your personal bubble becomes smaller.
Yeah.
Or bigger.
Yeah.
You let more people in.
But this is something I can change, and that's a privilege, right? It's a privilege that, like, when I get pulled over by the cops, not that happens all the time, but if I do, the last time it happened, I remember I was in the van and I saw the squad lights come on. I'm like, what is, it turned out like my plate was impaired by a bike rack. There's a bike rack that impaired the cop from seeing my license plate. But when I get pulled over by the cops, I immediately look to see if I've got the art clothes on. I'm going to have both hands on the hood of the trunk, and I'm getting the full cavity search. But if I've got my like teaching clothes on, they're like, sorry to bother you, sir. And that's something I can take on and put on and take off. And it was actually the last time that I got pulled over that I realized about the privileges that I exist because I was dressed in the right way, and because though it's a pretty gross story, but I leaned in on the privilege because I needed to get out of a sticky situation. And as much as like when I was a young man, I was talking to Sean Marchetto. Do you know Sean Marchetto? He's a principal.
Yes.
He grew up in Marlborough as well. So every now and then we'd sit down and talk about what it was like to be walking down the street with your buddies and have a cop randomly pull you aside and empty your pockets and take down your name. And I grew up 1 foot in Marlborough, 1 foot in Canyon Meadows. So I had two completely different life experiences that are like me in this shirt and me not in this shirt, right?
Yeah.
And it leaves scar tissue, right? So I grew up with this disdain and mistrust for police officers, which I recovered from by becoming a teacher. It was when I was teaching at Our Lady of Lourdes. I had my 10 interactions it takes to heal from something, right? Like if you have a bad experience, it takes 10 interactions to recover from
good
it.
interactions.
Yeah. And I had 10 like mind-blowingly kind interactions with the cops that were coming by the school for, this day you got stabbed, or the other day you almost got set on fire. You know, you had to fill out a report because you got spit on or whatever. So I had my 10 good experiences with police officers at Our Lady. And then it was later on when I got pulled over in the van and I was able to like switch sides. I was in a position where I'd given the guy who was helping me right my wrongs, I gave him the wrong impression, and he started getting pretty aggressive. And then I just flipped the switch to like privilege.
But it was you could play that.
And when I did, he backed off. At one point I apologized, and he got really like thirsty for blood. And then all of a sudden I pulled this like, do you know who I am? And he just gave me a warning and let me go. And it was like, I remember I was so repulsed with that experience that I as I drove away, I rolled down the window and vomited out the car with like just absolute shame and disgust. But I think that was a main trigger in me beginning to understand what being able to assimilate means, and what privilege can mean when you embrace it, like people that embrace that privilege and don't want to let it go.
I don't know if that's something I can experience as a woman. I'm not.
Well, and see,
really
that's actually
sure about that.
That's something that I recognized, right? Whereas like, just
as a man, I think you can work that system.
Yeah.
But as a woman, no matter your age or your stature, like you don't have a lot of defense that you can bring into yourself, apart from learning martial arts, which is what I did.
I don't mean to sound like boasting. It's the most shameful moment of my life, but it was also a learning experience for me to realize.
Yeah. And it's good. The more men that can learn that lesson, the better.
And
because that'll inform everything else.
Yeah, and like learn it. And I remember when that happened, how you talked about it and spread that awareness, because it was like, I didn't think this was a thing, but then I experimented with it, and it is a
what
thing.
I realized is okay. So
yeah.
Can I just say, in context, I grew up with like a file this thick, right? Mm-hmm. And so
you had your own. Yeah.
I didn't know that about you, Rich.
She's being sarcastic.
So, I didn't know that about you.
I can't tell. Are you being sarcastic?
No, I did not know that about you.
I can't tell.
She's being earnest.
And is that your academic? You mean an academic in school file, or?
Can I? I'm just gonna add. Do you remember Zach Abbott?
No.
Never met Zach Abbott.
I'll give you some key points to a really long, boring story. One of them is I don't have a high school diploma. I have the shop diploma. I had about a 50 average for most of my courses. I knew I was bright by about grade 7, but from grade 3 to grade 6, I thought I was mentally disabled. And the reason for that is I'd overheard my parents talking, and I'd picked up the R word. And the R word was used in context.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So my mom went into teaching gifted ed because she had a underachieving, bright son. But I was under the impression that I was mentally disabled because, okay, so I overheard this word, and I think it was a case of my dad not being very delicate and saying, no son of mine is the R word. And then I thought, what? I'm
that word?
Yeah. And so where I'd gone to bed wondering why my parents were talking about my mental capacity, it so happened that I woke up and went to the Vancouver Children's Hospital for IQ tests for the next 2 weeks. Now, what I didn't know was that I was bright enough to know what an IQ test was. What I did know was they were testing my intellect, and that I thought I'd overheard my dad say that I might be the R word.
Yeah.
And so I surmised that I was disabled. And so from grade 3 to grade 6, now my mom got into teaching gifted ed because she had this bright underachieving, and I was fully aware of how much I was underachieving. But she let it slip that Paul, who's in my new book, and I had the same IQ. So I broke it to Paul that he was also retarded. And what Paul and I decided to do was create a heist so that we could find out what our IQs were, thinking that they were desperately low enough that's why they kept pulling us out of class for more testing. And so Paul and I got thrown into the office, and he created a distraction, and I literally broke into my cabinet, pulled my file, and realized I had a gifted IQ. But I had every combination of learning disability minus 1 point. And even as late as art school, I was going through a phase where I could read Foucault, but I couldn't read simple communication. So I went back and I got some psychological testing, and it took until the middle of my teaching career when it occurred to me that I'm on the spectrum of autism, right. And that's the one that made me cry. Right, like now I think it's more popular and people think it's cool, but when I realized, okay, spent my most informative years thinking I was mentally disabled. Then I realized I was kind of gifted, but it didn't explain why I was flunking out of school. And then in a conversation I had with one of the teachers I was working with, it was after school. It was quite late, and she came up to me. She was a friend of mine, and she was actually in charge of taking care of the kids who learned on a different wavelength. She walked up to me, and she had a question, and it was about color. And she said, Rich, I have a question for you, but I don't want any of your bullshit answers. I just need a yes or a no. And she asked me a question about colors. And I was like, well, it's a little more complicated than that. And she must have been having a day because she just peeled off on me. And as a man, I've been conditioned not to cry since my childhood. But as she was yelling at me for being obstinate and stupid and annoying, every human being has this urge to fight back the tears. I thought, I wonder what would happen if I just let myself cry. And I did. And I told her, you have no idea how hard I work to come off as normal. Like, there are tasks that Jess can do in 15 minutes that might take me 3 to 4 hours. And to get through my teaching degree, I stayed up from 6 o'clock in the evening till 6 o'clock in the morning, 2 nights a week. And I have stayed up all night, 2 nights a week for about half my life to accomplish tasks that other people can get done in minutes. Sometimes it takes me hours to figure things out. Once I figure them out, I know them better than most people. Mm-hmm. And I can learn faster now than I could when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, there's all these kind of disjointed things. In my early 20s, I started pulling those disjointed things into an understanding. And now I just reach out and grab things and pull them to my understanding. So I'm learning quite a bit.
How you learn.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Sounds like me.
Yeah.
I am just like you, Kelly. I just a little bit on a different branch than you. You and I are on the same tree.
I fixed the washing machine yesterday. I was so proud of myself.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Like, and I can see it in my sons as well, right? So those things were all kind of wired into me. But I did have some low self-esteem because I used to really struggle at school too. And
did you ever get tested for the triple X syndrome?
No, I don't have that syndrome.
I do.
I know.
1 in a million people have it. So I have the apparently my IQ is really high, but it's in the creativity side.
Right.
So that's why I can never sleep, because it's always creativity. Like, I see everything. Like, it's a little bit different. Like you said, you think I might be on the spectrum, maybe a little bit.
I think you might be.
Yeah. But like,
I'm not going to diagnose you, Kelly, if that's what you're saying.
Well, I was thinking of taking the test.
I thought you and I had an understanding that we're both on different branches on the autism tree.
Yeah, just different. You're on a different plane. I'm on a different plane.
Yeah. I consider it like kind of like, okay, so I was in the classroom one day about 8 years ago, and Daniel was gifted with this beautiful spirit and what some clinicians might call Down syndrome. And his friend was gifted on the autism spectrum, and they were the two most interesting kids. And I remember one day walking into the room, and they initially did not know I was there. And what I didn't realize was how snobbish those kids can be, because they were ripping on the normals when the normals weren't listening. And I walked in and I kind of gasped, and Daniel looked at me because he realized he got busted complaining about the normals. And he goes, Mr. Teru, do you got the autism? And I go, yeah, I do. And he goes, yeah, I knew it. You can't fool me. But I said it to my vice principal one time, and I didn't recognize at that point that she would take it the way I took it when I was in grade 3. And so my principal comes in, she's like, did you, I'm not going to use her name. Let's say it was Suzette. It wasn't. She's like, did you tell Suzette you think she's autistic? And I was like, well, only in my gentlest way. And, I guess she'd go to her office and cried about it. But I think now she takes it at a point of honor because my other principal explained to her that I was probably trying to like share
connect.
With her. Yeah,
make a connection.
Clearly we're better.
Your buddies in autism.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the more you know, right? And actually, probably one of the most secretive autistic people I've ever met. And this will explain a lot. If you ever looked at my wife and thought, what is she doing with that guy? Is because Jess is way off on the spectrum too, but she gets a pass because she's pretty. she's got pretty privilege. And so when she's all, ooh, she's not getting diagnosed because they're just like, what a quirky, beautiful lady she is. But
it's like interesting because I was
you're probably more likely, if I were to guess your diagnosis, which I shouldn't, probably more ADHD, I think, than autistic. But here's what I think, and I was talking about this last week. I think it's a perception problem.
Mhm.
So it's the 80-20 rule, right? And it's I'm gonna go adjacent and talk about bullying for a second. 80% of the population feels like they were bullied. 20% of the population is willing to admit they're bullies. And because those two numbers line up, we think we got them right. And they line up so perfectly that sometimes it'll be 79% of the population believes they were bullied, and 21% of the population admits to being, and because those lock in and line up, but it's 80-20. It's not, there aren't 8 good people and 2 evil people. In fact, 2 people can't bully 8 people. It doesn't work that way.
I find it interesting because I think there's a significant percentage that are what I was, which I call fringe people. And nowadays in art schools, they are always talking about liminal space, and it drives me nuts, actually. But there is, that's why I walk a red line. Like my walking practice is on a red line. It's a GPS thing, but I'm basically walking on the line. I'm not making the line. And there are all sorts of lines that we could walk upon. But in high school, which is the most, push and pull, the cheerleaders, and then you've got the geeks, and you've got, anyway, I was always on the fringe. I was always on the line. And so therefore I had friends who were on the football team, and I had friends who were in the drama club, and I had friends in the art club, and I had friends who were debaters. And because it wasn't a matter of bully or bullied. Yeah. You could be that person who was always riding the line.
But what I think, it's not so much that there's 8 bad people, 8 good people and 2 bad people. We are all bad 20% of the time and good 80% of the time. And I think when we think about autism and differences and the neurotypicals and the non-neurotypicals, my new theory is, for all of history, there's been 20% of the population is what we think of as neurotypical. 20% of the population are the outliers, and the other 60% are people that are faking it either way, right? And I think as that middle section isn't trying as hard to be normal, that we're starting to see that there's a bigger, broader group of people that aren't the specific mainstream normal. I think the mainstream normal is every bit as unique as the outliers at the other end. I think I had the opposite experience of you, that I did run along a lot of circles, but I think in every circle I was still an outsider. So when I was hanging out with wrestlers, I was on the wrestling team and improving my space, but they always thought of me as the weird art student. And then amongst my art friends, they're like, that guy's a jock, but he can sit with us because he can draw. And so I didn't so much fit in everywhere as I was ubiquitous in not fitting in. But managed to
But I wasn't a chameleon though. It sounds like you immersed yourself in those groups, and I seriously stayed on the fringe.
I think I just my own
seriously thing. Did not immerse myself into being a part of the behaviors and experiences of those groups. I was an art student, but I didn't belong to art club.
Yeah.
But I was an art student. I was a speech student. But I didn't become the thing. I stayed on the line.
Just on that, yeah.
Yeah, I think I wasn't so much a lone wolf as I was like a weird coyote.
Now, how do you end these? I need to get off of my butt.
Watch this.
Do you do a ceremony?
Yeah, you
hi.
ready?
Hold on. Before you do that, I want to say hi and bye because Zach joined us right at the end, and I wanted to say hi.
Hi, Zach.
So Zach,
Hi, Zach.
I'm going to put Zach there. Zach joins us from Vancouver, so his studio's in Vancouver, and I
Oh,
wanted
nice.
to say hello. Oh, that's beautiful.
Hi, Zach.
So I wanted to say hi.
Hi,
Oh,
Zach.
you're muted, Zach.
Oh my God, I'm going off. This is a tough crowd. I just wanted to say hi too. Thank you. I will see you guys in August.
Yeah.
In the flesh.
Yay!
Hey, and you're gonna take some paint away, right?
Can I? Yes, please. Yeah, I'd like that. And maybe, could I do the broadcast on the 12th with you guys?
Amazing.
Here in the
yeah, you'll
States,
come here. That is so fun.
Yes, please.
We love you.
We love you.
Thank you.
You wish me
Can
luck
somebody
and
tell
going
me
for the
how
art
I-
show.
How do I leave this?
Stick to the end. We gotta.
Here, we're gonna say so we'll say bye to Zach, and we're gonna say bye.
Bye, everybody. We love you.
Kelly. Bye. We love you.